Chapter 8. Your Martial Brain. Let's talk about brain type, personal and public, in the dojo and out. As you know, we spend more time outside of the training hall than we do inside the dojo, practicing our martial arts. Ouch. That kind of stings, doesn't it? But it's true. We want to talk about the 3 powerful elements of martial arts. It's going to take us a little bit of time to get here, but we're going to sew it up for you in a nice package. So, hang on to the elements as we go by. The Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, MBTI, has been around for a long time, and you might be familiar with it. If you're not, in the simplest terms, it's a question-oriented test that reveals your personality type based on various predilections. They break it into 16 basic types, various subsets and so forth, to make the results actionable, but we'll stay with the basic types for now. For those of you who are not familiar with the Myers-Briggs or haven't taken the assessment recently, you can take the test for free online. A good source is 16personalities.com. Even though the paid version is better, the free one is quick, easy, and generally accurate. Personality preference is measured along 4 dichotomies: extroversion, E, versus introversion, I; sensing, S, versus intuition, N; thinking, T, versus feeling, F; judging, J, versus perceiving, P. Every one of us falls somewhere along one of those continua, the left side, the right side, or somewhere in the middle, and it's important to know where we stand. There's no right or wrong answer. It simply identifies our natural tendencies, what MBTI refers to as predilections, based on our unique brain chemistry, and then provides insight into what that means for us in various aspects of our lives. If you know what your Myers-Briggs score is, your 4 letters, then good for you. Hang on to those. We're going to need them. If you haven't taken it in a while, however, know that your personality can change over the years, especially if you've experienced major life events, so it may be worth taking again. Lawrence is an INTJ, and Kris is an ENFJ. Rather than explaining both, we'll focus on Kris to explain what this means. He is what they categorize in MBTI as a protagonist, a personality type with the extroverted, intuitive feeling and judging traits. According to the 16 Personalities site, these warm, forthright types love helping others, and they tend to have strong ideas and values. They back their perspective with the creative energy to achieve their goals. Let's take a little deeper dive into the ENFJ. These folks tend to be charismatic, natural-born leaders. Folks with this brain type can intuitively understand other people's motivations and feelings. They tend to love doing meaningful things for others and are often passionate about helping others grow into their best selves. Kind of fits for a martial arts instructor, huh? They also tend to have a strong sense of right and wrong, often vocal about their principles, and many exhibit unwavering commitment to stand up against what they perceive as inappropriate. Consequently, they often feel called to serve a greater purpose in life. Well, that's a bit of a puff up there. Hang on a second. His hat's a little tight. He needs to adjust it. Oh, wait. What's this? We've been handed a notice. There's a negative side to this personality type, too. The first downside is being unrealistic. Many protagonists put pressure on themselves to fix things. Sounds about right. Overly idealistic. ENFJs tend to have clear ideas about what's right and what's wrong, and believe that others should share that as well. Sure, that'd never come across as condescending, or could it? Yeah, sometimes it can come off as a little patronizing or worse. And then there's this intensity thing. At times, these personalities push people to make changes they're not ready for. Where it comes to self-improvement, protagonists are rarely short of energy or determination. And, while compassion is a strength of ENFJs, it can also make them overly empathetic, drive a tendency to shoulder other people's burdens, and leave them feeling emotionally and physically exhausted. Well, he'll take all of those things, the good, the bad, and the ugly. They're tendencies that resonate. Once you take the test, you'll find the same thing too. Your results might not perfectly match your unadulterated view of yourself, but they will resonate. So, do it. Take the test, or grab your results if you're already done so and review what they tell you. Now that you've got your Myers-Briggs in place, we'll move to the next step. You don't have to complete the profile test first, but it is helpful because what we want to do is stack 3 powerful resources on top of our Myers-Briggs. 1, time, 2, energy, and 3, money. Time is what you think it is. It's how many times have we spun around the sun riding atop this planet Earth. Energy is the drive to do, to take part, to give. And money is about the value that others place on our skills and/or our time. These 3 things are the big cuts. Here is an illustration of how 2 divergent personalities work under stressful situations. We know a guy, have known him for years, and he ran a dojo in one of Seattle's poshest neighborhoods, populated by multi-million-dollar homes owned predominantly by Amazon employees, high-powered attorneys, and high-powered attorneys who work for Amazon. There was a lot of money flying around on the business end of his dojo, and his business was dying a slow death. You see, this guy has lived in Japan. He has trained in Japan. He's competed in Japan. He is highly skilled, and he's super personable, and we get on well because he's a good dude. About once a month, we would get together and talk about what was going on in martial arts, particularly business and teaching experiences, maybe some better ideas on communication, casual, what are you doing, sort of stuff. I'm doing this. How's it working? For months, every time we met, he conveyed that his business was getting worse. If it wasn't a new issue, it was an already existing one that was getting bigger. How does this all fit together with the Myers-Briggs, you might ask? We'll explain. We're not certain, but we're pretty sure our friend is an ENFP. He's people-oriented, he's creative, he likes harmony, and he's optimistic. As we discussed, the issue that he was facing was fear of losing his school. You're going to lose this dojo, my man. You're going to lose this opportunity. How are you going to pay your bills? Seems like a big deal, but we'd bet he's never lost an hour's sleep over it. It never seemed to bother him whenever we discussed the business issues that were going on. He was optimistic, and there was a touch of realism. It wasn't just all, let's go run through the daisies. No, he was realistic, but he was optimistic at the same time. After one conversation, Kris related, in my brain, sitting across the table, I'm saying to myself, hey, let's work this out. Let's get going. I had to put a choke chain on my brain to slow myself down so that I could listen to what he was presenting. I'm running all these possibilities and solutions and how this could get fixed. That didn't need to happen. You see, he's an ENFP, and I am an ENFJ. He's going to roll with it. He's creative, he likes harmony, and he's optimistic. I want to get in there and make it right now, but he doesn't need that. These are different personalities dealing with the same reality, a dojo meltdown. Here's the kicker. The less you have of the 3 items, time, energy, money, or a combination thereof, the closer you get to your Myers-Briggs predilections. Kris was experiencing that on his end of the conversation. He was looking at the time, the energy, and the money, and how it was all going to affect him if he was in his friend's shoes. That's his empathy speaking. He wouldn't go so far as to say the discussion stressed him out, but it did impact him as he was trying to figure a way out to help his buddy. His friend, on the other hand, was seeking harmony. 2 different personality types, 2 different perspectives of the same situation. How does this fit into martial arts? Watch someone take an examination, and you'll get a peek at their brain type. Advancement tests aren't the same as losing one's dream job and livelihood, but the stress involved elicits a very similar response. Martial arts need the 3 elements of time, energy, money, or a combination thereof, as they displace other priorities in each practitioner's life. Knowing your Myers-Briggs and aligning your personality type with the 3 elements arms you with a simple and helpful formula. How do you feel down about your training? Look at your brain type, then measure the 3 elements on a piece of paper. Mark where you are, and you're going to see what's lacking. And you're also going to be able to see how, when the lack occurs, you default to your brain type. Accessing that superstructure, you can put on top of your brain type. You can say, oh, I need to think about what I'm about to do because it may not be helpful. That's the ascendant mind that goes away when the stressors are introduced. In other words, as Kerwin Ray popularized, when stress goes up, intelligence goes down. This knowledge gets us past that. You're going to go down to your root. You're going to go down to what Myers-Briggs says that you are. Yet, if you're armed with these elements, time, energy, and money, along with the knowledge of what your brain type is, you can do an audit. In that way, you move into your ascendant brain rather than spinning with doubt about the stressors. That's the superstructure that sits on top of the root of your brain behavior. Of course, this works outside of the dojo too, which is important because that's where we spend most of our lives. You can address the shadow side of your weaknesses. You can build that structure that allows you to do better than what you would do naturally. That's why we recommend this pattern of auditing. It is phenomenal. You will be armed, rested, and ready to face whatever challenges you face in the most optimal way you're capable of. Don't get us wrong, it's not a panacea. Once you take a look at where you stand on those 3 elements and how they are set into your brain type, it's going to take you a little while to digest what you've discovered. But the more you do it, the easier it is to habitualize continuous improvement. Once you do, it's like that pattern, that kata, that pumse, that taolu. Whatever you're doing, you've done it enough through repetition that it becomes second nature. And that is what you want to be able to have here. To not only put the physical aspects of the martial arts together, but to also dive into them. Understanding your mental makeup, how it's being challenged, and how you can best address the situation you find yourself in. Takeaways. Understand your inherent personality predilections. Different personality types see and interact with the world differently, and that leads to different reactions to situations, conversations, challenges, and opportunities. The less one has of time, energy, and money, the more their behavior aligns with their core personality type. Quotes, "Only a fool does something new and thinks it will work for sure. Only a failure refuses to try something that might not work." Seth Godin. We cannot safely assume that other people's minds work on the same principles as our own. All too often, others with whom we come in contact do not reason as we reason, or do not value the things we value, or are not interested in what interests us. Isabel Briggs Myers. Personality is that which permits a prediction of what a person will do in any given situation. Raymond Cattell.